I think a lot about what it is that my kids need. They're 8, they're twins, and I think about what they need not only to survive in this world, but to thrive. To thrive. And I think what they need is the skill set that I don't have that I've been building and the one that I work with adults on and teach and what I've been teaching at their school. So there's pieces, and I've built it into the self-love journey. I just have different words for it now. The first thing is somatic awareness. Somatic awareness. I called that body, just the self-love journey currently super complicated: body, heart, mind, and spirit. And I feel like what I'm teaching is somatic awareness. That is just checking in. Like I'm aware of the sensations of my body. That's it. I'm aware of the sensations of my body. Most of us, by the time we're probably in high school, if not college, have really cut off sensations from the neck down and live like right up here because that becomes safe. Honestly, uncomfortable feelings are uncomfortable and we block them a lot. So we tend to block out the very same information that we need to make adjustments to our life. But I'm getting ahead of myself because that, my friends, is called emotional literacy. Emotional literacy. That means once I'm somatically aware, I know what's happening in my body, I can check in. That's also called interoception, by the way. This is a real thing. Interoception, it's a sense. It's how you know you have to go to the bathroom, if you're hot, cold, hungry, thirsty. And it's where all of your emotional feedback or emotional data is coming from. That sense is interoception. Okay, so once you're in touch with that, then there's a translation process because our body and our minds do not speak the same language, and we have to translate. And we don't have a lot of tools to translate. We don't have a lot of support. And so that's what I found myself doing for myself and my clients in the self-love journey, is to connect with what's happening in here and asking, what is it that it's telling me? What is it that this information is saying that I need? And I've had a big aha realization is that, of course, the negative emotions that we deem bad, they're not bad, they're just uncomfortable, hard to deal with. And positive emotions are more comfortable, so we call them good. They're not good or bad, it's just information. But the uncomfortable feelings are uncomfortable for a reason, because that spurs us to take action. That is why when we are thirsty, it is like really thirsty, it is uncomfortable. Really hungry, really uncomfortable. Really hot, really cold, really, really uncomfortable. So if you're really angry, that is telling you that you need to take action somehow. And I could go into a whole rant on how we are using anger in all non-productive, harmful ways. There is a productive use of anger, and I teach that. Sadness is really uncomfortable because we've lost something of value. That is, and grief, oh my dear God, we have not learned how to process grief. Like, grief exists. That's a thing. That's a real thing. If we just titrated that, just processed it a little bit more, just in the moments that we could, what we could handle, we wouldn't be bottled up with so much sadness and grief. That's why we have a whole generation on depression medication. That and other needs aren't being met, needs for connection, for love, for belonging. The body is screaming and saying, I do not have what I need. I do not have what I need. And we medicate people for it. We medicate people for it. They're going to look back at this and it's going to seem to the future, what we're doing right now, medicating people for anxiety and depression, and numbing people out and telling them that they shouldn't be feeling like that, pathologizing it is going to be how we feel looking back at the times where they just did leeching for everything. Like, oh, you have a problem, you have an illness, let's just put some leeches on you. I'm going to leech you to death. That seems ridiculous, right? That's how ridiculous it is that we are ignoring the feelings that are coming up inside of us and saying that we're wrong. We're in a sick society, people. Your body is telling you that something in your environment is not good and that change needs to happen. And we need that activation energy. We need those negative or the uncomfortable feelings to take action, to say, this doesn't work. This doesn't work for me. And this doesn't work for us. Oh my dear God, we need to wake up. Stop numbing out with alcohol. I love you, my friends. That's a coping mechanism. I did it for decades. Decades, until I realized, wow, I am numbing myself. I actually didn't realize I was doing it until maybe a year or two after I stopped drinking. We need to feel more. So what is the skill set that we need to build up? Feeling, somatic awareness, and emotional literacy. We need to feel more of what's happening in bits, right? Take it in little bits. I jumped into polyamory and I did what I call emotional exposure therapy, except it's only therapy if you're in a safe container. And a lot of polyamory is not safe. And so it's emotional exposure trauma and trauma and trauma again. So let's not traumatize ourselves. Let's give ourselves a safe container to work on this. Again, this is why I created the self-love journey. Um, Another thing that I teach in this container is power literacy or power dynamics. But I like literacy because it's like a language. Again, it's like emotional literacy. We just need the tools to understand what's happening. So power literacy is knowing, what does it feel like when I am empowered, and what does it feel like when I am disempowered? And what does it feel like when I don't have power in my environment? What does it feel like when I have more power over someone else? Where is the power in that relational dynamic of me, of me with you, of us together? There's power flowing every day, all day. And there's a reason that we are power illiterate, because what good would it serve the systems currently if we were all power literate? We wouldn't have the same systems. That's for sure. That's why I'm so committed to teaching this curriculum, the curriculum of the century here. Okay, another thing that I'm understanding right now, resourcing. Okay, what does that mean, resourcing? What does it mean to be a fully resourced adult? Okay, first, resourcing. Resources means things, because we have needs. So if you think about a plant, this is much easier when we don't think about people. Plants, they need resources, right? What are the resources? I'll let you finish that one in your head. You're right. Sunlight, soil, water, some nutrients in the soil. A plant needs to be resourced, or it does not exist in the world, or it will not die. It will just survive and not thrive if it does not have the right resources. First, we pathologize ourselves for needing anything to be resourced. I'm specifically talking about connection, love, and belonging. We have gaslit ourselves that that's not just as important as food, shelter, and water. We can go 30 days without food, actually. We can go 3 days without water. That's pushing the envelope on both of those, but we can go without it. So we can survive without certain resources. We can. We just won't thrive. And for us to understand, if we want to thrive in life, we need resources. It is a real legit thing. We live in this 3D body in a 3D world. Over time, we need resources. So that has to be understood first. It's a real thing. So to be resourced, or a fully resourced adult, every one of us is a little different. What my body needs to be fully resourced might be slightly different than what your body needs. Different vitamins, minerals, different amount of calories, depending on what it is that we're doing. Even my body needs to be resourced different on days. I live in Costa Rica. If I go out in the hot weather, I'm going to need a lot more water than if I'm just inside in air conditioning all day, which I am right now, thankfully. So we need to understand our own specific resources that we need. I'm going to circle back to emotional literacy, because your body will constantly give you the information of what it needs. Just like, I'm thirsty, I'm hot, I'm cold, I need to go to the bathroom. Your body is really good at telling you what it needs. We just sometimes don't want to listen to it. And I am very guilty of this. My mind has not wanted to listen to what it is that my body is telling me that I need. On physical levels and on emotional levels, all of it. We have a physical body, we have an emotional body. So what we need to do, part of the curriculum, and I don't know what to call this yet, but is like working with our mind, is that we need to align our body and our emotional literacy and understanding what it is that's happening here, somatic awareness, with our mind, and making space for it and aligning it. And I think what we actually need to do is flip the model on its head. Mental frameworks I've found to be extremely helpful in giving my body space so that I can hear it. So that's where I've realized I can align my mind with my body, and they work in conjunction. When they're not working together is when my mind is telling my body, like, nope, don't want that. That's wrong. Shouldn't be feeling that. That is a mental framework that is highly accessible in our current society. and it does not align the body and the mind. So this other skill for the curriculum of our century is having the mind and body work together. And I actually put in there the spirit as well. That's the power, knowing am I empowered? Can I take action here? Am I disempowered? Spirit can be a lot of other things, but we'll just start there just to keep this brief. So that's how I've structured body, mind, heart, and spirit in the current self-love format. I've talked about how the words that I want to use, it's the same thing: somatic awareness, emotional literacy, power literacy or power dynamics, resourcing, adult resourcing. And then there's a whole toolkit for like a relational toolkit. Agreements. What agreements have I made with myself? What agreements have I made with other people or my partner? Did I make these consciously? Did I step into them because they are what is culturally accepted and I've never questioned that agreement? Does this agreement serve me and serve the people that I love? Oh God, what agreements have I made? Like, what agreements have you made to get to this particular point, wherever you're sitting, whatever you're doing? You've made agreements. Did you make those consciously? What agreements could you make consciously? And boundaries. Ooh, I love boundaries. I love me some boundaries. It's taken me a long time to realize that it's not about telling anyone what to do. It's about being fully accountable for where I put my body in time and space, where I put my energy, my emotional energy, my attention, that is in my purview, that is a boundary, and even how I talk to myself and the thoughts that I think, and finding ways to gently, lovingly shift my mental energy and being fully accountable for this space too. And there's so much more. So I've packed all of this into my 6-month self-love journey, and I am so committed. I'm so beyond committed to sharing this with you because I know the results that I've gotten in my life. But there's a caveat. My friends, this one's taken me a long time to admit to, and it's scary. It's scary. There's a reason that we don't all like jump up at the idea of like, yeah, self-love, or, oh my God, I'm going to go through this. You may say that you want all of the things that I just listed, but I can guarantee you they come at a cost, because the life that you're currently living was done by a previous version of you. And if you do truly start listening to yourself differently, start talking to yourself differently, start taking different actions, start making different agreements, you get where I'm going here, don't you? Your life will start to look different. And in some ways, that is out of your control. And in some ways, it might shift relationships that your mind like truly wants to keep. You want to keep them so bad. And you can't ignore your body anymore. It just is not going to work. So this is like having the light come on. And sometimes that's even scarier than sitting in the darkness. Because in the darkness, we can just sit with what is and pretend that we are incapable of making the changes. But once the light comes on, you can't unsee. You can't unfeel. And then that's when you get to be truly courageous. That's when you get to choose yourself and loving yourself. And not at the cost or the expense of anyone else. You know, it's not that journey. One of my mantras has been, I want healthy, loving relationships. And that is at the center of all of my relationships. And during this process, I realized that I have had to shift and am currently shifting some of my relationships because they were not healthy and loving in the way that serves this soul in order to sit here, right here, and share this information with you. And that is what I'm really committed to, so that I can start creating the world that I want my kids to grow up in, so that I can start being the mom that I want to be for them, so that they can learn implicitly all of the things that I have had to strive to learn explicitly, so that they can have a different curriculum of their lifetime. That is the aim. Thank you for listening. What's happening in your body? What do you feel? There's nothing that I could tell you that you don't already know. So if your body is buzzing a little bit, let's talk. Let's talk. I have small groups that I take through 6-month journeys that are quite intense. We meet every other week for 90 minutes. You have a personal 1-hour coaching call. with me every month. We have a WhatsApp group so that we can stay in communication because, and in all honesty, what I'm learning is 6 months is not even enough. I technically finished a 6 month group today and they're like, no, still, we got it. Like, we got what you're teaching. And there's so much more to practice. And I know because I've been building this for 3 to 4 years now. And I feel like I'm still touching the tip of the iceberg. So this is a practice. If I use the word self-love, it's a self-love practice. If you have any other words that I could use, tell me. Tell me. I've been playing with words that I don't know what else to call this. But for right now, it's called the self-love journey. I know that that can seem intimidating, right? It can feel really far to love yourself, but it's not. It's not. It's just having the tools to be aware of yourself, to accept yourself, to find yourself worthy of your own attention and love, and to care for yourself, which means taking actions and making decisions. You can do it, my friends. I'm here. Come talk to me. I offer 20-minute just 20-minute conversations, and I let you guide it and direct it. And we can talk more about if the self-love journey is right for you. And if not, maybe private coaching, or I do custom retreats. So you can come down here and we can do deep work, deep work here together using the land as assistance and some other modalities that I only have access to here. So this is everything. Thank you for listening. I look forward to our lives overlapping. And if this is the only time that my energy touches your energy, I hope it has served you. Thank you. With love.